Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second ever episode of the West Georgia Report. My name's Zach Kedash. Sitting beside me here are Victor Robichaud, Robin Horner, and Dom Valley. The Vancouver Canucks just beat the Calgary Flames 5-1. So we're going to bring you our immediate reactions to that after this break. Let's get right into it. All right, so we're back. The Canucks had 5 goals tonight from Brock Besser, Bo Horvat, JT Miller, Jordy Ben, and Nate Schmidt. Victor, what do you think of the offensive production tonight?
It's good to see them kind of break through like that, especially against Markstrom. Happy to see it come from a kind of a wide array of guys. Seems like most guys got a point tonight, which is good. Seeing some jump out of the back end. The bottom 6 still wasn't there, but luckily they didn't need them tonight, so that's okay. But yeah, nice to see Jordy Ben get on the board after I rag on him last episode. So maybe I'll just have to keep doing that.
Yeah, all the guys you were ragging on last episode had a good night, actually. So
yeah, exactly. I don't know what else to say. It was a good night all around.
Yeah, so what do you think about that Jordy Ben goal, stepping up in the break there right off the start of the game?
It's nice to see it. Nice to see that, really. Like usually that's Hughes who jumps up in that spot, but Jordy had the awareness to sort of get up there with Bo, and after a great breakup by Hoglander down in the zone to get the puck back for the Canucks, and then there you go, tic-tac-toe.
Yeah, and that first goal is so important for them too, right? The stat that they showed right after that goal is crazy, just how different their games have gone this year after scoring or not scoring that first one. So that was huge.
Yeah, I think they're 8-1-1 now in games where they score the first goal, and I think they're averaging like 5 goals a game or something in those games. So Robin, I know you were talking pretty lowly of Nate Schmidt last episode, and
yes.
How do you think seeing his face pop up?
It was definitely I knew that it would get brought up tonight for sure. I was sitting there thinking, wow, this is going to be a fun conversation tonight. But it was really fun to see him kind of jump up more into the play. It's like, as we said, it's been kind of disappointing to see him. I mean, while he's been quite solid in terms of stats, like he's been not super noticeable on the ice, and I think he just needs to be producing more offensively. But tonight, that turned around really, really beautifully. Yeah, really, really impressive. I stand corrected.
So, Dom, what do you think is the main storyline of this game?
For me, the stat that jumped out the most tonight was the ice time amongst the forwards. I mean, yeah, Hoglander actually led the offense in ice time tonight with just over 16 minutes. So they didn't really ride anyone too hard. And Vic was right. While the fourth line didn't really show up tonight, they did play a decent amount of minutes. Virtanen was the lowest minutes guy at just under 12 tonight. So everyone was really close in minutes. They really just rolled the 4 lines, and while the fourth line didn't produce anything, they held their own. Despite, I guess, that one bad Virtanen penalty in the first. They looked, I mean, good enough other than that. And yeah, they got a chance to kind of rest some guys. The top 6 played well and got their chances, but late in the game they were able to kind of rest up. And I think that games like that are huge, where you can kind of not wear your guys down as much in this shortened season. That's big.
Yeah, I know a focus for you last episode was sort of the play of the goaltenders and wanting them to see better. What do you think of Holtby's performance tonight?
It was awesome. The D did all the little things right tonight and didn't make it that hard on him. He didn't really have to make any huge stops. They did get a decent amount of chances, but they did a good job of keeping him to the outside. And that's the kind of solid goaltending they're going to need, making that high volume amount of shots. I said that they're going to need a goalie to step up. I picked the wrong one. It looks like it might be the other one. But in my eyes now, you're making a big mistake if you just keep rotating. You've got to go back to Holtby next game. You've got to see if he can find his old form here, and hopefully they're able to ride him for a bit.
Yeah, ride him while he's hot. See if he can get some momentum. Holtby's goaltending tonight reminded me a lot of sort of what Demko was doing in the Vegas series last year. Just the defense was forcing the right kind of shots, and he was just present and made the right kind of plays. Didn't have to do anything out of desperation, and just controlled the puck as best he could.
Yeah, I'll add to that. Say he really needed this win because I think he had lost 3 in a row before that. Hadn't really looked great at all this season. He looked frustrated. That thing going on with him and JT Miller where he gave him the stink eye. It was nice to see him all kind of on the same page tonight and get him back in the win.
Yeah, and he looked comfortable tonight too. Like he looked like he was sliding around pretty comfortably. Didn't look like there was like these super like really, really desperate moves. He was just he was doing his thing, and he seemed like he was in the zone, and it was really nice to see.
Yeah, I agree. There was a bit of a sort of a frantic energy to his game over the last couple, and it's nice to see him settle down and just have a good performance. Wanting to stay on the topic of goaltending, how do we feel about the budding Markstrom and Pearson beef?
It was a weird game for Markstrom. I don't know. He did that sliding poke check, which he didn't really poke check at all on the Horvat goal. I thought that was weird, but I don't know what he was kind of doing, if he was trying to like show off tonight and kind of rub one in his old friends' faces or what was going on, but didn't work out, I guess.
Well, did you see? So after the incident with Pearson, did you see the hook he tried to pull on him as Pearson was rounding the outside of the net?
Yeah, it was.
It seemed like there might be some actual animosity starting to build.
And then Pearson went after him, but went and had a little chat with him during the commercial break, I think it was, and those two are kind of in each other's faces all night. Oh, that's hockey.
Yeah, I think the advantage there goes to the forwards. Like when you're playing against your old goalie, I just think that's such an easy game for a goalie to get in his head and have all the old boys like chirping him. And if they get in his kitchen a little bit, I feel like that's a tough situation for a goalie. When it starts going bad, it's easy to go downhill fast.
Yeah, I guess that's what happened. I mean, you really don't want to get pulled in that situation, but
no.
Canucks get the last laugh here for now.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of old Jacob Markstrom, like Jacob Markstrom a few years ago for the Canucks, where he was just kind of all over the place. He was diving out, making these weird plays, and we're like, we really don't need you to do this, man. Like you just need to like do basic saves.
Yeah, the first one on when he went for Pearson, I thought was actually a good play, but the one where he ended up getting scored on by Horvat was really weird. It never really seemed like he had much of a play on the puck at all, and just decided way too early and committed way too early that he was going to end up out of the net. And
yeah, seemed like a pretty bad misread by him. He really thought that puck was rolling a lot further up than it was. But shout out Horvat, that was a sick play to knock that out of the air and to get in alone.
Yeah, that was a really nice play all around, especially with the Hughes pass too to start it up.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough for now. We're going to go to a break, and we'll be back just after this. All right, we're back. So one of the questions I wanted to tackle tonight after this game was, how do we keep the production coming out of the top six? Because obviously we saw 3 goals from the top 6 today, a couple of goals from defenders with the top 6 on the ice. Victor, what do you think? How do we keep this production coming?
I think it's all mental, really. I mean, these guys to start the year, you could tell with Pearson, Miller especially, where they were really just fighting the puck and they were obviously frustrated. And tonight, all that kind of seemed to go away and the pucks were bouncing their way. I mean, Brock has been lighting it up all year, but especially with the other two on that top line, they've really seemed to find a better sort of mental space, I guess you could say. And they just seem more confident out there. I think confidence is the big thing here.
Yeah, I have to agree. One of the things I've noticed in JT's game this year is that he's not shooting the puck very much. He last year he scored 30 goals, averaged 2.45 shots a game, and this year entering tonight he only had 1.74 shots a game. Tonight he had 2 shots, obviously, in the goal. So I'm really hoping to see some momentum build off of this game. I just want to see this top 6 get some confidence, like you said, and just play naturally, because it seems like nobody's playing naturally. JT, like, it seems like he can't keep his stick on the ice or something. These odd man rushes, he can't just make contact. Like there was a play last game we were fed a puck right in front of the net by Hughes and missed it. He had a couple turnovers in the neutral zone tonight. So I just want to see the top 6 play just their hockey, their brand of hockey.
Yeah, I'll add to that, just say the second line as well. I think they'll just keep getting better. I mean, Horvat is a really good player, but he's sort of on and off. I mean, he had a great playoffs. He had a good start to the year, then kind of slowed off. He didn't score as much. But I think as Höglander starts to get more and more comfortable with the game, with the ice, everything like that, I think that line's really going to start showing up.
Yeah, I've really liked what I've seen from Pearson over the last couple of games as well. So I'm optimistic for that to continue as well.
And even though Pettersson's not producing a ton, he's not showing up like these huge massive numbers. Like he's showing up in different ways in like these little plays that are in these little things, a la another Swede on the team. Just doing these really little things that are really, really helpful for the top six, and especially like his connection with Besser is really good to see too. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, a way that the top six can stay hot is to get their power play going. I just feel like they actually did do a better job of it tonight. One of my complaints kind of coming in to this week is that they never mixed it up at all. I mean, we've seen Horvat have those. I mean, he's had probably 4 or 5 of his goals were that exact same play on the power play. So it feels like there has been that little bit of success. But I think part of that is just because they have run that exact same thing every time. So it's bound to work eventually. And the fact that they've drawn the most penalties in the league, right? So they've had the most power plays. In terms of percentage wise, they're still under 20%. They're still bottom third of the league in power play. So I'd like to see them kind of keep mixing it up. I liked what they did tonight, putting JT out front. I feel like that's a good spot for him on the power play. He's not as hesitant. He really doesn't mind getting in the dirty areas, getting right in front of the goalie's eyes. And I just feel like maybe putting Horvat on the half wall, planting JT out front and playing more of an umbrella kind of working it from the top and letting JT muck around out front. I feel like that could just get them going in another way, maybe make their power play more successful and keep them hot offensively.
Yeah, I agree that changing up the look of the power play is probably the play, but I think that what they should be doing is changing up their actual power play units. They've only gotten 1 goal from their second power play unit all year, and that probably is largely due to the lack of talent on the second unit. It's their best players are Pearson and Höglander. You have Pettersson, Hughes, Horvat, Besser, and JT on the first power play unit. Those are your 5 best scorers, and none of them are on the second unit. And I honestly think that you could probably see a jump of 4 or 5% if you move, maybe Brock down to the second unit and just allow him to be the shot taker on that unit.
Yeah, I could see that as an option. I mean, for me, it's kind of tough because you want all your guys out on the first unit, right? But then again, Brock doesn't really get used on the power play much. And I'm thinking even on the other side, I mean, I don't think we've seen Pettersson wind up and just rip a one-timer on the power play in how many games now, right? Like last year, that was their only play. But now that they've come up with this Horvat one-timer shot in the slot, which works, but I think they've got to go back to kind of giving Pettersson a bit more action on the other side.
I just think it bodes well to mix in those things all throughout. It doesn't have to be one thing or the other. Just don't go to that Horvat play every single time. Teams start reading it, and then you're an easy team to game plan against.
Yeah, it's going to be in the scouting report from here on out.
For sure.
I'm just happy that they've changed up the break-in on the power play because I remember last year, holy cow. I mean, every team does it where they swing up and then drop it back to the guy. But
yeah,
you can do it with McDavid. But, I mean, the Canucks always seem to do it with Horvat, and he's not the fastest guy. I feel like you really need a speedster to get that play to work, and I just hate that.
Yeah, and it's about what the other guys are doing too. You can't just have everybody standing still watching that guy wind it up because nothing's going to happen. The D is going to set up easily. It does work for some teams, but they have the movement going well with it, and then it crosses teams up and throws off their timing. But if you don't have it set up right, then that breakout can look ugly sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to cut to a break, and when we're back, we're going to be talking about the new defensive pairings and how they've looked so far. All right, we're back. So one of the things we wanted to bring up in this podcast was the defensive pairings that have been together for the last 4 or 5 games. So it's Edler Schmidt, Ben Hughes, and Uelevi and Myers. Dom, how have you liked the look of these 6 guys paired up?
Yeah, I think as time's gone on here, now game 4 or 5 of these pairings, you can definitely tell they're starting to get more comfortable. And that's the nice thing about being able to settle in with a partner is you're gonna learn each other's tendencies, learn each other's kind of what they prefer to do in terms of first passes and breakouts and stuff. And I just feel like, yeah, they've really started to settle in and start to play their games and look good as pairs. For me, one thing I feel like that we touched on last game, we kind of were a little hard on them on the last pod, kind of, especially in terms of the plus minus. And the one thing that Zach and I talked about after that was how plus minus can kind of be an arbitrary, misleading stat at times. And there was such a good example of that last game right after we talked about it, when Tyler Myers does everything right in the corner, wins a battle, moves the puck up to the winger, and Virtanen just waits too long, does nothing with it. Brutal turnover, pucks in their back of the net, minus for Myers, even though he did everything right. So I think at times those stats have been a little bit misleading. Everybody's been fairly solid, and now they're certainly starting to look more comfortable. The one thing we talked about last time as well was kind of who the ideal pairing is for Hughes. And one thing that I thought about after was kind of, you got to think about the decor as a whole as well. Like, do you want to have your top two guys, on that first pair, or do you want to be able to kind of have a little more depth? And I think part of the thing to think about too is that Quinn Hughes, being how good he is, how much ice he's able to cover and the things he's able to do, then you're able to take your guy who might be your 6 or 7 and put him up there and be able to be a successful pair because they're able to complement each other, and he can simplify his game because of all the things Hughes does, and it makes it easier for him. So I think that they're in a decent spot right now. I think the pairings are working out, and it's going to be tough for Hamonic to get back in the lineup right now, because I think just like it's wrong to change the goalie right now, it'd be wrong to split any of these pairings up as they're just starting to get comfortable. So that'll be interesting to see how Hamonic gets used.
Ben has been super steady the last couple of games. Obviously, him scoring at the start of this one bodes really well for his future playing time. And I don't think Green can take him out of the lineup right now. They've allowed 7 or 8 goals in the last 3 games. It's just I can't speak right now, but the defense is essentially looking their best that it has all season after these pairings have been matched up. Ben has been super steady beside Hughes. Levy is making Myers look like a very competent player for the first time in a Canucks uniform. Well, I mean, that's maybe a little mean, and Myers is doing wonderfully for Levy as well. Levy looks like he could be a really long-term D-man, top 4 D-man for this team. So,
and same thing with the D tonight as the forwards, where they get that lead and they had been rolling 3 pairs, and all of a sudden Hughes ends up only playing around 16 minutes and gets to kind of rest up a little bit as well.
I was going to drop that stat.
I was all over the time on ice tonight, so you can't get me.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, that's a good point. What you're saying with you can kind of roll. I mean, I guess in a 5-1 game, you kind of roll all your lines, but to see Hughes, I mean, second last among D-men in ice time behind Oli Levy drops. How much did he play? 18:59, 19 minutes for him. That's really good to see in his development for sure. And I don't know. I was really hard on Ben last time. I guess he scores a beauty one-timer goal to open up the game. You can't really say too much after that, but he can stick around for another game. That's all I have to say.
One more.
Yeah, I don't know how Hamonic's going to get back in. I don't see who he's replacing. I mean, it would be Ben, I guess, because on that right side you've got Schmidt, Ben, and who's Myers.
Yeah, but at the same time,
but I don't think you do that right now.
What kind of message are you sending in the locker room if a guy finally is playing his best hockey this season and then all of a sudden you yank him out of the lineup? Like, you definitely can't do that right now.
Give him time to get healthy too from whatever he's dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Let him be the 7th man for now, and if there's a spot to plug him in the future, and then let him play.
Yeah, and Levy and Myers are looking really good together too. Like physically, they're both. Levy's been so just physical, and he's been hitting guys all over the place, and it's been a fun time to watch for a Canucks fan who's used to not necessarily super hard hits. So it's been super fun to watch Levy and Myers play together, and just kind of echo that. Myers is finally looking like I'm not wanting to go on Twitter after every game and just like absolutely destroy Tyler Myers. Like I really am. I'm not mad about it, and I'm good with that.
Yeah. One thing I noticed about Tyler Myers, he's really good at snagging the pucks out of the air. I guess
Yeah, that
because he's
was
so
one thing we
tall.
noticed
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, he's a brick wall back there, which is good. And another thing for me, I guess, always going back to Oli, but I noticed him a lot more than I noticed Matt Tkachuk on the other side. So who really won that draft?
True.
Mm-hmm.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
Ooh.
Yeah. It was good for the Canucks to not really give in to Tkachuk. I mean, he's always trying to start something, and they didn't really give him anything. And Canucks only took 2 penalties tonight, which is good. And I get that's what you got to do to win these games.
Yeah, I didn't notice Tkachuk at all. And like from that line, like Goudreau, I noticed, but only because he was swearing for his awful missed shots. So, all right, we're going to come back with the Spice Rack in just a few moments. All right, we're back. Here's the Spice Rack. This is our hot take corner. Victor, you're up. What is the spiciest take you can possibly come up with?
All right. I had Taco Del Mar for dinner tonight, so it's more of a lukewarm take. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but Taco Del
We'll
Mar is
still do
like
the damage tomorrow.
mediocre Mexican food. But the NHL scheduling is kind of whack. Why did they go back to play this game in Calgary just to come back home now to play Winnipeg on Friday? I don't know. Seems weird. That's all I have to say. Calgary's playing at home again against Edmonton next, I believe. So they could just play that game in Vancouver, and you're in the middle of a pandemic. I feel like you should try to limit travel. That's all I got to say.
I'm assuming it just has something to do with how many games that have to be scheduled for each team at home. Like you can't have
We'll
obviously
move one
all
of the
10
other
these
ones then.
games be in Vancouver, right? So
Or just change the rules. The rules are stupid.
Yeah, you're in a
rules don't
pandemic.
exist. Okay.
Man, that was
well,
hot.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm actually sweating right now.
We should cut that. That was a little bit too hot. I don't know if we'll be able to handle that one.
Okay, Dom, you're talking some mad shit for a guy who told me he didn't have a spice rack taken during the second intermission. So
Well, I
you're up
could
now.
always cook something up quick though. Virtanen trade talks continue to heat up. Chris Johnston was tweeting today that they're really starting to look around for potential trade partners, trying to free up some cap space. And so I was thinking tonight, why not? We've already seen one this year between a couple disgruntled young guys. Let's do another 1-for-1. Sam Bennett, Jake Virtanen. Might have to throw a little something in on either side, but I think they're getting traded for each other. You heard it here first.
2 Canadian teams. It makes sense. I don't love it.
Yeah, no quarantine. I don't love it either, but
No.
Yeah.
I
don't think either team wins that. I don't know.
following my hunch.
Yeah.
Well, a fresh
it
start
probably
is
will
all a
happen.
guy needs sometimes.
Yeah.
yeah, one thing I like to take into trades that if neither team likes it, then it's probably the right trade to make. So
Yeah. Jake looked
Sure.
bad tonight. I don't know. I didn't notice anything
Yeah,
good
he
from this
did.
game.
That penalty he took in the first was such a stupid penalty. Like what do you possibly gain from giving a hack in the back of a guy's ankles? If the ref doesn't see that, the best case Ontario is you're probably not in that guy's kitchen at all because you're a nobody out there right now.
Virtanen needs to come out of the lineup and be replaced with, I think it's pronounced Michaelis.
Everyone's injured.
Michaelis.
yeah, everyone's injured.
Yeah, I think Michaelis or Bailey would be the only 2 guys available right now.
Bailey's injured. Is
he
Howard
still injured?
back?
I didn't think he was. I thought he was back, but either way, not great options. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
No, Michaelis is a fantastic option, and
Yeah.
that is what we should do, and that's my hot take.
Hey, you know
That's
who
your
we were
hot
talking
take.
about?
That's
who
my
we were
hot
talking
take.
about earlier,
Give her her
though?
corner.
You know
Yeah.
who we were talking about earlier?
Hey,
that is-
Robin, sell us on Michaelis.
I've never heard of this person before.
No.
he doesn't have a picture on the
Dom?
score app. I'll tell you that. He wears number 56, really greasy number.
He played in the 2015 World Juniors.
For who?
For who?
Germany. For Germany.
Oh, okay. Oh,
German?
German lad.
Oh,
Hey, German players are hot right now. Don't sleep on it.
Where's McEwen? Is he injured? I miss him. He's good.
I think so. I don't
Could
know.
yeah, I don't know. He must be out.
But you know who would solidify?
Sorry
the
to steal
bottom
your
six
corner,
that
Robin.
Zach and I
No,
were
it's
talking
just-
about tonight is
Oh, it's so
Mr.
funny.
Mott.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tyler Mott is a huge.
We're
miss
missing
for
him a
this team
lot. The
right
one
now.
stat I saw the other day that really jumped out at me, He only played 15 games. He threw over 70 hits. That guy was just buzzing around out there. The space that creates, the energy that brings, they've been missing that a lot. So it's tough when you don't have that guy in your bottom six to try and find other pieces.
Yeah, you have to play Louis Eriksson. We all see how that goes every night.
They're 2-2 with Louis in the lineup. That's better than
You
the
just
record
can't argue with
without
those stats.
Louis in the lineup.
Better winning.
Well, to
Correlation
be
does
fair-
not equal causation.
Spice rack.
All right,
We're
so I'm up.
Close. We're so close
I-
to being back to Mock Girl Summer.
It's right around the corner.
Right around the corner, Mock Girl
It's-
Summer.
It's Malt Boy Spring right now. Okay, my hot take, and this is coming directly at
McAllis
Victor's
boy.
throat. Victor, JT Miller is that guy. He is the 70-point scorer. He is not a 50-point scorer. He is on pace this year right now, I think, for 71 points. At the
If
time
it were
of
an
your last podcast, he was on pace for a 70-point season. He was never on pace for a 50-point season. JT Miller scored, assisted tonight. He is that guy. And he's only taking 1.74 shots a game right now. Once he gets those numbers back up, he gets his eyes on the puck. He is going to be putting those pucks in the back of the net, and he is going to be the best player on the Canucks to finish the season.
Are you his agent?
He's going to steal the Brock Besser thunder, and he's going to be ripping top cheddar.
Are you negotiating his
and I know.
contract for him?
You were talking mad shit about my guy JT. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying right now.
I hope you're right.
Speaking of contracts, I saw both PD and CAA Hockey were posting about his official joining their squad today. So I think it just became official today. Joining his new agent there, Ben, whatever the guy's name is. He's got the most money in players' contracts right now. He's got over $1 billion worth of contracts in the show right now.
That's
So it'll
'cause
be
I'm not in the
interesting to
industry
see
yet.
if those contract negotiations start now that he's officially with them.
Yeah, and he's got Hughes too, so they're
Yeah,
going
he's
to
got
negotiate
Hughes as well.
together. That'll be fun. Demko's
Yeah.
also up. My guy Oli's up. We got a tough summer coming.
There's some money to be spent.
Yeah, if only we had an owner who would spend it. What?
That.
Are you talking shit about your future employer right now?
Wasn't me. He can't
Okay.
even afford to get tarps all the way around the arena. He's just got on the other half.
Oh my god, I noticed that.
We done?
Right. Is that it for our hot takes?
That take was better than my other one.
Oh, hot take. We should actually no, it's not a hot take. We should replace those red seats with some.
what?
Been calling that
with-
for years.
Yeah, it's really not a hot take. It's a frozen take.
Yeah,
That-
it's a necessary take.
It's a necessary take.
It should be a
So
league
what do we
rule.
replace them with?
Blue.
Like movie loungers.
Blue or black, or maybe like
No.
a nice forest green, maybe a nice navy
chair?
That'd be
blue
cool.
Plenty of options.
We could
with the cup
Oh,
holders and not just the club section.
cup holders. Maybe what are those called? Beanbag chairs.
Oh,
All right, folks. Thanks for listening to West Georgia Report, our second episode. Today is Wednesday, February 17th. Yes, I am correct. And just to end the episode here, I wanted to give a quick shout out to Walt Serralio. He's one of our friends' dads, and he's been giving us some great feedback. I think maybe for the episode we record on Sunday morning, we're going to be looking to take a call in for our spice rack because our takes are not that spicy. So yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.
What they say to me, what they say to me, what